Hey, West Hempstead High School. Hey, how are you? Rarely do I ever get cut off, but I'm sorry that this happened. I'm the guest, and I have to respect the administration and staff. So, having said that, my sincere apologies, but I also wanted to share with you the end. So I was sitting there with my wife's grandpa, and I remember he looked at me and he said, we never have time to do things right, but we always have time to do things over. Why don't we just do it right the first time? When we're young, we look to take shortcuts in life, and we look to make excuses, but so the next day I went to his house, and he wasn't sitting in his chair. And I'll never forget, and I walked in the house, he was on the kitchen floor, and so to make a long story short, 911 rushed from the hospital to do emergency surgery, and the family all came in. The family went out to dinner that night, and I remember my wife said, honey, why don't you stay with Grandpa? And I said, why don't you stay with him? He's your grandpa, and I'll go out to dinner with the family. And my wife said, I think everybody thinks that Grandpa would like it best if you were there. So I stayed with my wife's grandpa that night, and I remember it was a long night, and the glow of the machines just lit up the room. And so the next morning, the doctors noticed that his heart capacity was down to 10% and called the family, and the family came in, and the doctor said, I think the surgery took a lot out of him. We don't think he's going to make it. We give him maybe 48 hours to live. And the doctor said, I'm sorry. And they walked out, and the family went in, and we sat with Grandpa, and the family laughed, and the family cried, and the family went out to dinner again that night. And I just said, I'm not going. And so that night, I sat with him, and I held his hand, and I said, I love you, Grandpa. I said, I'm sorry. I said, but it's going to be okay. We're going to be okay. I said, you can go now. I said, I love you. And so the next morning, my wife's grandpa passed away. And so I ask you this question. If there's someone in your life that was given less than a month to live, and you could say something to that person, any person, who would that person be? What would you want to say? And let's not wish in the end that we could have done it. Let's just seek to find those people now and let them know how much they mean to us. And so as I wanted to leave you, I wanted to share with you that I have a niece that's 3 years old, and she has Down syndrome. My boy is 15 years old, and he has special needs. He's developmentally delayed. It's probably the safest way to say it. And I have a 20-year-old nephew who has autism. West Hempstead, you were an awesome school today, man. It was an honor and a pleasure to get to meet you all. It was an honor to be able to share my heart with your heart. As I looked out in the audience, I saw ability, intelligence, beauty, respect, and I think, you're all going to do great things with your life. When you graduate from high school, go to college, if that's what you choose to do, you'll have great relationships, some not so great relationships, but it's all about learning and growing. You can drive a car, get a job, maybe get married someday, maybe get a dog named Bo. You know what my nephew wants? Patrick, my nephew. All he wants is a girlfriend. You know what he'd like to do someday? Just maybe go to a teenage party. And so we take so much for granted every day. I'm thinking now, and I met Angela, and I asked her, I said, is you beautiful on the inside as you are on the outside? She looked at me in the eyes, and she said, yes. But the reality is many of you will not live your potential, live your dreams. You want to know why? Because as you go through life, you don't think you're smart enough, you don't think you're capable, and you don't think you have the ability. My final words to you is, you do. But you have to believe you do. And if every one of you can have the spirit and the attitude that Angela has, and you look in the mirror every day and say, I'm smart, I'm strong, I'm capable, and to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I want to concern myself more with who I am on the inside, not who I am on the outside. Because I promise you, you take care of who you are on the inside, the outside will take care of itself. West Hempstead High School, I'm sorry that my time was cut short. I'm the guest. But as I'm walking away, I'm thinking, what a beautiful school. Teachers, I want to thank you for your class time. And I want to applaud you for the work you do, because your kids were amazing. Thank you so much for your time, West Hempstead High School. And I hope you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jeff Yalden. At Jeff Yalden, JEFFYALDEN. Thank you so much. You all have great holidays.